Hello, my darlings, and welcome to another base tour, the last one of the year, last one for 2021. So, we have been building a Klingon bird of prey. More specifically, we've been building the Burrell class bird of prey. This entire build is based on some blueprints that I found by someone called Cygnus X1. I will place the link to the blueprints in the description below. But this was built over about 5-6 weeks, probably about 55 hours or so. It's fully kitted out. It has 3 decks for you to explore. Whoops. Like that. So there is a teleporter on the landing pad so that you can easily get inside and explore all you want. And I've built them as close as I can to the blueprints. However, due to build limits, etc., I have had to make some creative license with the interiors. So the bridge is not precisely the bridge from the blueprint. I've taken the rooms that we see on shows like Deep Space Nine and I've just replicated that in there. The actual blueprint, I believe, has a mess hall, a separate office inside of this front section, whereas just for this build, I've just placed one room, and that is the bridge inside the front section. So, if we take a little hop over to the front of the ship, I can show you all of the outside. So if we take a look at the outside of the ship, you can see that the brown sort of line that you can see on the front coming around the top of the head of the ship, I used pipes in order to do that. Unfortunately, there is no brown colour in the No Man's Sky palette, so we've had to settle for a sort of burnt orange instead. For the deflector shield at the front here, I've just used one of the lab lights, blown it up, made it nice and red so you can see it nice and clearly. I've used the small walls on the top as opposed to these ceiling panels. They had a crossover that was just a bit too harsh, and it made the top of the build look a bit clunky and a bit messy. So by doing it by hand, using the small walls and slowly curving them round, it gives a bit more of a neater shape. It's still not quite perfect, but I think within the limits of the game and my current knowledge for building, this is the nicest shape we could come up with for this. For the blasters, we've used blown up sideways electromagnetic generators, and I've sort of built a kind of unit, I guess you could call it, on the end of the wing here that they're attached to. Quite annoyingly, this far blaster is actually 2U inside of an electromagnetic hotspot. It is generating a whopping 1 kp of electricity, whereas this one is not. And I only realised this after putting them in, and by that point I had pretty much all of this built. So the idea of moving it over so both of them were lit up was a little unappealing at the time. So we're just going to assume that maybe this one's broken. Maybe, you know, maybe they've come down to do some repairs and this one just needs a bit of looking at. That's what we're going to tell everyone anyway. I've also popped like a little bit of wiring down here using the ceiling panels, and I've put a little touchpad in there as well. You know, if we imagine it's come down for repairs and things, someone's going to need to pop some buttons about to make it better again. The underside of the wing is supposed to be red, and I want you to believe me when I say that these panels under here are red. It's just unfortunately the light never quite touches them, so no one will ever really see that they are red, but I promise you they are very much the right colour. So the body of the ship is, once again, I've had to make the curves out of these little short walls, just because they looked neater, and they give a bit of a better shape for what's needed, especially for what we lovingly christened the boobs of the ship on the top here, which were a bit of a pain to get equal, but we managed in the end. Around the back here, the models that I was looking at for the exterior had these kind of like units. They were like external units on the back of the ship. Let's just pop the light around the back here so you can see them better. There we go. They've got these sort of like engine units that are kind of external. So I've just tried to replicate the shape as best I can, put some piping on it to make it look a bit more industrial, give it a kind of engine kind of feel to it. It was a little difficult in the short space that we have here, but I think the idea comes across anyway. This back part was actually quite difficult because of all the slopes. These pieces here are supposed to slope all the way down, but again, my building limits came into play here, but we still have the general shape quite nicely. This is the exhaust port at the back, which I've also popped a little light in, so you can see that it's puttering away across the atmosphere there. So we'll work through the inside as you would if you were coming through the teleporter from the landing pad here. We'll do the middle deck, and then we'll do the top deck, and then we'll do the lower deck. So when you come in, it takes you into the neck of the bird. So let it all render in first. There it is. So this little section here is the neck of the ship, and on your left here is the bridge. So I've been using photos and references from the Deep Space Nine Bird of Prey bridge, where it has the captain's chair here in the middle. It's got these sort of stations for like tactical and everything. Just at the back here, you've got life support and engines all around the sides, and then you have two panels at the front here for like piloting and things like that. All of the decorations have been largely influenced by my wonderful Twitch followers. My interior decorating skills are not the best, and they were instrumental in helping me figure out how to do these support beams that come from the floor, what pieces to use, suggestions for decoration. A lot of this would have been a lot worse if they hadn't been involved, so special thanks and shout out to all those guys. We also decided that the view screen here would be, we did try and do stars to try and make it look like it was flying through space, but unfortunately we couldn't really figure out how to get something small enough to look like a star. So instead we've gone for more of a tactical readout. So we're going to imagine that these here are ships, and that maybe this is a planet, maybe this is Kronos, maybe this is the Klingon homeworld, and they're partitioning off the ships into two groups to try and figure out what is tactically the best thing to do. If we come down through the bridge onto the neck, the blueprint says storage, and we figured that, you know, what else do you store on a Klingon ship? Guns! Lots and lots of lovely guns. We've also popped a few canisters and barrels and things around, so it looks like maybe they're packing things away, taking note of what's currently in stock, etc. This first room here is one of the first bunks. The bunks are very, very plain, very, very simple. The diagrams don't really leave too much for the imagination, and let's be honest, Klingons aren't exactly known for their interior decoration. They're also very, very close quarters. I've placed the beds exactly where they should be according to the blueprints, and these guys don't have any room to swing a cat around, I can tell you that for free. But they do have a little desk here. We've taken the liberty of putting a few blankets down on a couple of the beds, you know, just in case the feet get a bit cold. And we've also popped some drawers and some lockers in for popping your socks in and everything. The room next door is one of the first bathrooms, so we've popped a couple of sinks down. We've got some storage here for some towels, and we also have a couple of showers, a couple of shower cubicles. I highly doubt Klingons are going to be shy about having a shower, so I don't think shower curtains are necessary. And at the end of this corridor we have the engineering section. So we've decorated this with piping. We've put down there's maybe some bits here on the table that are getting fixed, you know, maybe some drawers for some tools. We've connected a few bits together So it looks like larger units. Obviously you've got readouts on the wall. And then this goes actually into the impulse engine, which is supposed to be behind here. So I thought maybe that this piece from the Quicksilver shop would be a quite nice sort of, you know, standout piece, sort of, you know, the closest thing we could get to maybe like a warp core control or something like that, for the back of the ship. Especially since it is, you know, bright red and glowing, and that is one of the Klingons' favourite things. Anything that's green, red, and ominous, I think, is the theme for this ship, I think. The pipes along the ceiling and the walls really kind of give this deck like a sort of industrial kind of feeling. I think it looks quite nice, actually, if I do say so myself. So this next room here is the planning room, the meeting room. So we've got a nice big screen on the wall so we can point out what we're doing. We obviously have a planetary chart in the middle so we can see who's what, where and when. Cups of blood wine and some jugs just to keep everyone fresh and ready throughout the meeting, and a couple of folk have their own personal data pads as well. Can't plan without blood wine, you can't. And then this room here is sick bay. Yeah, one bed. That is what the blueprint said, so that is what we're getting, just one bed. Because, well, I suppose any decent Klingon would simply die of his wounds instead of live. So, there you go. What can you do? Going up the stairs to A deck now. There's quite a few rooms up here, actually. We'll start at the back here and work our way forward, I think. So this is life support. Again, this was just an empty room on the blueprint, so I've just tried to pop a few things down to make it look like there's, you know, bits of equipment in here. You know, there's only so much you can do when you haven't actually got a clue what these rooms look like, so I've just tried my best to give it a kind of you know, engineering kind of feel. Some monitors, etc. hanging about. Right next to this, interestingly, this is laundry. Yeah, Klingons do laundry, believe it or not. So we've got the bubble vats. Again, great suggestion by one of my followers. These are the washing machines. We've got a couple of bottles here. We've got your laundry detergent. We've got your fabric softener. Maybe something else. Maybe this is the stuff that gets the blood out of the leathers. I don't know. You know, a couple of things, blankies here that need drying and settling off. And yeah, it was a big surprise to me that Klingons do laundry, but hey, you learn something new every single day. So next to this, I believe, is the captain's quarters. Yes, it is. Oh, they're gonna, yes they are, fantastic. So the back of this room has a little desk, a little sort of space where he can relax, do his thing. We popped the expedition stickers on the wall as maybe, you know, these are mementos of previous conquests or something. And there's also like a little reading nook as well that we popped down here in the corner. On the opposite side to this, we've got the captain's bed. Now, the dinosaur head we were originally going to pop on the wall as a kind of, you know how you get those antlers and reindeers that, you know, hunters put on the walls and stuff. We thought maybe he could do that with the dinosaur head. But in the end, we've decided to use it as a bedside table. So, you know, he's got his blood wine, you know, in case he wakes up in the middle of the night a little bit thirsty. It's already waiting for him, you know. Now, the captain has a posh bathroom. He's got a bathtub. Which again, huge shock. Didn't even consider that a Klingon captain would have a bathtub, but there you go. You learn something new every day. Little sink, little towel there, and of course, a toilet, just in case. You never know. Toilets are a lot harder to build than I thought. We're just going to have to use our imaginations there, kids. We are. Just use our imaginations. So the room next door to this is the cloaking device room. Now, obviously, we don't know what a cloaking device looks like because it's top secret. You know, no one's ever allowed to get a hold of a cloaking device. So I decided, maybe we blow up the, I think it's called the cyclonic lathe. Maybe we're imagining this is generating a field around the ship. We've popped in a couple of extra industrially bits to, make it look like it's being powered by different things. We've got some storage on the wall here. And of course a little desk as well for the person who's in charge of keeping the shield up and running. The end of the corridor here is the document room. I've just filled this with boxes and sort of safes and things. I'm assuming this is where they keep all of their really important stuff. So I didn't really know what else to put in here, to be honest. Just said document room, so we made it a document room. On the other side of the stairs coming up here, there is another set of crew quarters. Again, very cramped. Some space for storage there. Not a lot of room to breathe, but again, I don't think that's a top priority on a warbird. And of course, in the back here we have another little bathroom with some showers and some sinks. Hopping down now to C deck. This is supposed to be a little bigger, but unfortunately, due to the way I built the outside, we were unable to get all of the rooms in, but we got the main stuff in. So at the back here, this one is correct. This is the interrogation room. So I've put in a few menacing bits and bobs. We've got some weapons on the side. We've got maybe a monitor to see how the prisoner is doing. We're not going to dwell too much on the claw. And of course, the person is sat under a spotlight, so they understand that they're the ones being interrogated. Opposite here is supposed to be 2 rooms, but unfortunately I couldn't fit both of them in. So this was supposed to be a spacesuit locker and an arsenal, but I figured that the arsenal was a little more important than spacesuits. There was some debate building this over whether we had too many guns. The general consensus in the end was that we did not have enough. I mean, it's Klingons. You can never have too many guns, let's be honest. But yes, we've got a little desk here for whoever's in charge of weapons to make sure they're being signed in and out correctly. Round the corner from this, these 2 rooms are exactly the same. So this is the brig. So we've just got a very basic bedroom. Where's there it is. We've got a little locker. And we've got a little toilet here, toilet roll holder. Sink and towel to wash your hands in. Both rooms exactly the same. At the back here is storage. Now I believe the storage was meant to go all the way around the back of the staircase here, but we just didn't quite have the room for it. But it's still a sizable room with a couple of bits and bobs in it. The power modules are all tucked away in the belly of the ship behind that wall, which is quite nice. So no one can actually see where all that's coming from. And that worked out very nicely in terms of keeping everything nice and neat and organised. It did. So that is the bird of prey in its entirety. If you do wish to visit, the glyphs are in the bottom left corner there. This was built in the Isentam galaxy. It would be lovely if you did pop over and have a mooch around. Hopefully you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed building it. That rainbow is perfectly timed. Look at that, it's beautiful. But yes, I hope you enjoyed that tour. Hopefully 2022 will be full of yet more base tours. I've got a few things planned and I'm looking forward to building them. But in the meantime, hi, hello. My name's been Leonaris. I hope you have a lovely day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.